Hey y'all, it's Heel Heat time.
Hi everybody and welcome to Heel Heat. My name is George Coles, and on this episode we're going to review Ring of Honor's Summer Supercard. Now with that being said, if you haven't seen a review we do here before, we grade everything on a 1 to 5 scale, 1 being the worst, 5 being the best. So let's jump right into it with our first match of the night. A tag team match, Villain Enterprises of PCO and Brody King versus the Kingdom of TK O'Ryan and Vinny Marseglia. I thought this was a good match, a nice way to start the show. I was kind of perplexed by something we'll see here in a little bit, that we could have had another title defense with the Villain Enterprises being 6-man champions, and instead of just, them and the other partner in different matches. But to me, it was a good tag match. I just feel like if you're going to say something's a Summer Supercard, kind of build it up as a super show, you should have all your titles defended on it. Just my opinion. I liked the match. I thought it was pretty good. The Villain Enterprises pick up the win. I'm going to give this match a 3. Afterwards, we see the Kingdom get into a scuffle with the Brawler Malonis and the Beer City Bruiser, who are sitting ringside, the Bouncers, and they get that broken up. I thought it was pretty good. I like that they're working forward, showing who the next feud for the Kingdom's going to be. So it made it all work, in my opinion. Now, next up, we had a match that was scheduled to be PJ Black versus Silas Young. Silas comes out, says he got too drunk, he can't wrestle the match, he thought it was later on, so he's bowing out. PJ Black offers an open invitation to anybody in the back, and here's what I was mentioning. It's answered by Marty Scurll. Now, like I said with the previous match, if all 3 of the 6-man champions are there, why not have them defend that title? Why have them in 2 separate matches? But I digress. This was another solid match. To me, I kind of wanted to see PJ Black versus Silas Young. I think Silas Young is one of the most underappreciated Ring of Honor stars. I like him a lot. I think in my opinion, he's someone that should be pushed into the main event status as a contender for the world title. But, still we get 2 excellent wrestlers, and I'm not knocking either one of these. I like PJ Black. I love Marty Scurll. So, just the fact that I missed out on a match hurt it a little bit, not the fact of who was in it. I thought this was a solid match. Marty picks up the win. I'm going to give this match a 3 again. I thought it was another solid match to start off the show. And if you can't hear by my voice, I'm a little bit hoarse, so during this review, I'm sorry, but I'll have to drink a little bit of water just to keep up my voice from it losing it. Better. Alright. Now, next up, we have our first of the championship matches for the night. Kelly Klein defending her Women of Honor Championship versus Tasha Steelz. I really enjoyed this match. This is probably one of my 2 favorite matches of the night, and I went into it with a little bit high expectations. I know Tasha isn't as well known as some of the other wrestlers in Women of Honor, but I've known of her work. I've seen a lot of her work in the independents. I think she's a really solid wrestler, and I think they both delivered on this. I thought this was a fantastic match. I liked the way it was worked. I liked that they kept it a face versus face kind of dichotomy, where one didn't turn heel during the match. I thought this was something that shows what Women of Honor could be. And not on either one of these or any of the women in Women of Honor's, not a knock on any of them, but I think the division itself is a little bit lacking. They need more talent in there. They need more women in there. I think there's only about 10 women in the whole division, which makes us see the same matches over and over again, makes us see people get stagnant really quick. I like this match. I thought it was really good. I think we've seen the current Ring of Honor or Women of Honor champion and a future Women of Honor champion, because I believe Tasha Steelz will be the Women of Honor champion at some point. She's talented enough. Her gimmick is really good. Her in-ring ability is really good. I think that it's going to be a matter of time before she reaches the top there. I'll give the match a 5. I really enjoyed it. Afterwards, we seen Angelina Love come out and kind of attack both of them. Only issue I had with that is Angelina Love attacked both of them and got the upper hand. Whereas if it would have been Angelina Love and Velvet Sky, I would not have minded. The announcers played it off as, yes, they're worn down from a grueling match. But, I don't know. To me, you don't beat up your world champion and your number one contender by one person. That's just to me, in my opinion. I'm just saying. And I know it was an attack from behind and all that, so I'm not knocking it that bad. It's just, optically, to me, I would have did it differently. Now, next up, we have representing Lifeblood, if that's even still a thing, Bandito and Mark Haskins versus Jay Lethal and Jonathan Gresham. This match, I really enjoyed as well. I like the interaction. I like how we seen during the match Gresham slowly got more cocky, got more heel tactics going on. I like the fact that he's showing that side of him. I think one of the biggest knocks on Jonathan Gresham has been his personality. He's kind of dry and bland, whereas he's starting to show more of that now. And I think if he could get his personality to match up with his in-ring, he's going to be one of the top talents they have. I mean, he's one of the top in-ring wrestlers in the whole world. So if he could get that little extra, it'll push him over the top, in my opinion. I thought this was a fantastic match. I mean, you got 4 really good wrestlers in it. I mean, Bandito, Haskins, they're both excellent wrestlers. Jay Lethal, obviously one of the cornerstones of Ring of Honor, one of the best in the history of the company. Jonathan Gresham, I just spoke about how good he is. I thought these guys matched up really well. I thought there was a lot of similarities and also a lot of differences that made the match really fun. Bandito and Haskins pick up the win after there's a lot of dissension between Lethal and Gresham. I'm going to give the match a 4. I did think it was kind of interesting that Bandito got a pin on Jay Lethal. Or no, I'm sorry. That Haskins made Jay Lethal tap. Bandito set it up. I'm sorry about that. And I think that's an interesting thing. That, to me, and knowing the way that Ring of Honor books, because they book the same way for basically their whole existence, that's going to push Haskins a little bit higher up the card, because he just beat one of the legendary faces of Ring of Honor, one of the guys that hardly ever gets beat, and probably, if I can remember right, this might be the only time I've seen him tap out in the last 5 years, and it may even be longer. Just fantastic match in my opinion. I'm going to give this match a 4. I thought it was really good. Now next up, we have Shane Taylor versus Tracy Williams is announced. Hot Sauce Tracy Williams comes out to the ring, gets beat up by Flip Gordon with a kendo stick, kind of cementing that Flip Gordon is now a heel, that he's now part of Villain Enterprises, who, I don't know, they're kind of not really a heel team, so he's the heel in the heels. It's kind of an interesting spot. We see Tracy Williams get carried to the back. They postpone the match, which sets up Roush versus Dalton Castle in a no disqualification match. This is the match I wanted to see when they did the Super Showdown or G1 Supercard at Madison Square Garden. Instead of them giving us that crap. But I think they had to do that to get to this as well. So I'm okay with that. But here we have two of the guys. Dalton Castle, he's long been established as one of the top tier talents in Ring of Honor. Roush this year has made his way into being a top tier talent in Ring of Honor. And they did I thought it was a really solid match. A really good, really well worked, no disqualification match. The spots that they worked into it. Really made them stand out, in my opinion. On a card with a lot of other really awesome matches, this one stood out as being a really good match and a really fun match. Roush picks up the win, remains undefeated in Ring of Honor. I like this a lot, and they said it a lot on commentary, that Dalton Castle's back to his championship form, which it kind of felt that way. And his championship run was kind of lackluster, let's be honest. He was dealing with a lot of nagging injuries, and it kind of fell a little bit flat. So to see him getting back to where he was is a pleasant, not surprise, but it's a pleasant revelation for people who enjoy Dalton Castle and enjoy seeing good wrestling. I gave this match a 4. I thought it was rather good. I liked it a whole lot. Now next up, for the Ring of Honor TV title, we have Shane Taylor defending against Hot Sauce Tracy Williams. They did the match now, and they played it up as Tracy Williams was injured. I don't know if he would have won even if he wasn't injured. It's one of the matches where one of these guys has been placed on a certain level and the other guy hasn't. Tracy Williams has not, even though he won a tournament to become #1 contender, he's not been placed on that level that Shane Taylor has, where as Taylor's been pushed to the top, he's been shown as being a guy that should be a TV champion, that should be possibly a future world champion. I never felt, even before the Flip Gordon beatdown, that Williams was any kind of threat. I thought it was an okay match. I liked the psychology that they worked into it. I thought it could have been a little bit better, in my opinion. Maybe the psychology, maybe the Flip beatdown took away from it for me. I don't know. There was something that didn't connect here in making it a good match to go into a great match. Shane Taylor picks up the win here, retains his title. I'm going to give the match a 3. Like I said, it was a good match, but it could have been a great match, and there was something that just held it back from that. Now, next up, we had a promo for a future debuting talent, Joe Hendry, which I thought was really cool. I think Joe Hendry is going to add a lot to Ring of Honor. I think he's going to bring up the entertainment level. He's an extremely entertaining guy. If you're not familiar with his work, he does a lot of, I don't want to say because his matches aren't comedy related, but he does a lot of comedy type promos. He's deadly serious in the ring. He's a guy that goes out and he's actually an accomplished singer as well. So there's a lot with Joe Hendry. He's a guy I think can help Ring of Honor get back into prominence. I mean, Ring of Honor, let's be honest, they've taken a hit since the Elite left in the beginning of the year. I mean, they lost about 10 of their top talents. I mean, you lost the Bucks, Cody, Hangman Page, SCU, that's 3 more, the Best Friends, Luchasaurus, who was starting to do work with them, and Kenny Omega, who would come in from time to time, not more of a Japanese talent, but also did Ring of Honor as well. So they lost a lot of people in the beginning of the year, and it's taken them a while to build back to where they are. And, you know, some new talent that they brought in, guys like Bandito, like Tracy Williams, like Mark Haskins, and now Joe Hendry. These are guys that are going to help bring you up there. Roush is another one that'll bring you back to where you were. And I'm happy to see that for Ring of Honor. I'm happy to see that they're starting to get back on their feet and get back to where they were. At one point, Ring of Honor was, I would say, the second biggest wrestling company in America. And they've kind of fell a little bit since then. But, like I said, this injection of new blood, especially somebody as talented as I almost called him Mark Henry. Joe Hendry is going to be a welcome addition to the show, in my opinion. Now, next up, we have the CML match of the night, a 6-man match. We have Caristico, and I'm sorry, before I say all this, I know I'm going to butcher all these names. I'm not super familiar with CMLL. I've watched some of their shows. A lot of times when I do watch them, they are in Spanish commentary, so I don't hear these names as they're said as much. And I'm sorry if you're out there and you're a fan of any of these guys. It's no disrespect. It's just me not being super familiar with them. We have, with that being said, Caristico, Sabernero Jr., Stuka Jr. versus Barbaro Cavernario, Hechicero, and Templario. Like I said, I probably botched every one of those names. I liked this match. I thought it was good. To me, though, I'm not a huge fan of the lucha style. There's some matches that are great, some matches that are train wrecks, and some matches that are just there. And to me, this kind of felt like a just there match. It didn't go into the crazy spot fest that lucha matches are known to be. It kind of felt like it was a little bit... to me, it should have been the first match of the night. I don't know. I know that they're trying, like I said with the Joe Hendry, to infuse new talent into the roster and to borrow some of these guys. I mean, some of these guys are fantastic talents. I mean, Caristico is, all of them. Sabrano Jr., Stuka Jr., all great talents. Cavernario is a great talent with a great gimmick, kind of a caveman gimmick if you're not familiar. Hechicero, great gimmick, a great wrestler. Templario, he's probably, out of the guys that wrestled in the match, my favorite that I've seen. He's been the most consistent in all the matches that I've seen him in. And, I don't know, like they said, this match just kind of fell flat to me. I'm going to give this match a 2. The team of Caristico, Sabrano Jr., and Stuka Jr. won. Like I said, kind of just fell flat. Kind of fell in that it's just there kind of category. And I don't know, maybe it's jet lag, maybe it's they had to wrestle in CMLL, I don't know. Like I said, it just kind of fell flat. Now, next up, we had the Ring of Honor World Championship defended. We have Matt Taven defending against Alex Shelley. I thought this was a solid match. I kind of felt at times felt like maybe Shelley would win, and deservingly so. Alex Shelley is a fantastic wrestler, and everything they say about him and everything they promote about him being the influence on a lot of this generation is so true. I mean, there's a lot of guys that looked up to people like Alex Shelley, Chris Sabin, a lot of those early TNA X Division guys, AJ Styles, of course, Jay Lethal, Christopher Daniels, or Kazarian, a lot of those guys, a lot of the wrestlers that are starting now or have started since then, kind of looked at that style, that early TNA X Division style, and took it and went forward with it. You see it up and down this card that there's a lot of wrestlers that have taken that, ran with it, and made it their own style, added their own flair to it, so to say. And Alex Shelley is kind of one that they don't really quote as being a favorite, but it's obvious when you watch a lot of these guys work how influential he is, because you see little things that came from Alex Shelley first. I thought this was a really solid match. I thought Shelley, again, I thought they worked it in a way that showed that Shelley could possibly win this match. I thought it was really good. Matt Taven picked up the win after hitting 2 climaxes, so in other words, Shelley still looked strong because it took 2 finishers to beat him. Thought it was a good match. I'm going to give the match a 4. Afterwards, Taven basically says there's nobody that can beat him. He's beat everybody in the locker room, which brings out Roush, which sets up, I'm guessing, for Final Battle. They're going to build it till then. I don't know if they keep holding off that long, because that's like 5 months out. But if it was me, that would be the money match for Final Battle. They're probably going to do it a little bit sooner than that, since they did this now. I would have assumed the Final Battle build-up we'd start getting into that in October instead of August. But maybe they do. Maybe they find ways to have Taven keep him out of the world title picture for that long. I don't know. It's interesting to see going forward. I think that Roush obviously is a guy that's, if he stays with Ring of Honor, I believe his deal was only a 1-year deal. If he decides to stay with them longer than a year, I'm pretty sure they're going to put the belt on him at some point. He's talented. He's over with the fans. He's everything you would want in a champion. Plus, he helps bring that coveted Hispanic audience, which is a thing that a lot of wrestling companies in America are trying to tap into. I hope to see that going forward. Like I said, I would hope to see it at Final Battle. Maybe it's the big match there. Maybe Roush wins it earlier than Final Battle and we see another bigger match than that. Who knows? But I like it. I thought it was a good match. Like I said, I give it a 4. Now next up, we have the main event of the evening. The Briscoe brothers versus the Guerrillas of Destiny in a ladder war. And this is the 8th ladder war. And I'm pretty sure, I think the Briscoes have been involved, or 5 or 6 of them. But most of the ladder wars have had the Briscoes in some way. And this was a match, as they said in the promos leading up to it, that was created for the Briscoe brothers. Kind of Ring of Honor spin on a ladder match, which is a little bit more violent than what you would expect in most companies. Most companies' ladder matches aren't bloody messes, where Ring of Honor improving here with both of the Briscoes busted open and bleeding profusely. Jay Briscoe always scares me when he bleeds, because when he bleeds all over the place. And it looks like he's got shot. And it's one of those things where you see it, and there's a couple incidences. This one, a cage match he had with Samoa Joe early in his Ring of Honor career. The original ladder war where he's bleeding out buckets, where to the point where it's like, I don't know if it's safe for him to be still wrestling. And, you know, being a fan, takes me aback a little bit. But it also adds to the match. It adds to the realism, the violence. What is going on is really crazy. It's really putting a toll on these guys. And I think you have here two of the probably 3 or 4 best tag teams in the world So to see them wrestle in this match, see them go at it with these kind of stipulations, I thought it was really fun, a really good match. The Briscoes pick up at the win at the end. I liked it a lot. This was the way you go off the air. I'm going to give this match a 5. I thought it was that good. Now, with all that being said, looking back over the card, I give the whole card as a whole for Summer Supercard, I give it a 4. There were a lot of really good matches. The Women of Honor match, the tag title match were stellar. The World Championship was a really good match. Roush vs. Dalton Castle was a really good match. The tag match between Lifeblood and Lethal Aggression was really good. A couple... The CMLL 6-man kind of missed for me. A couple of matches felt a little bit ho-hum, or just there on the card. But all in all, I thought it was a really solid show. Kind of what you would expect from a Ring of Honor show. You get some great quality matches, some good matches. A couple where they swung for the fences and missed. But the show, all in all, looking back on it, was rather enjoyable. Like I said, I give it a 4. And basically, that's my opinion. Let me know what you think. Hit me down here in the comments. Did you like the show? What was your favorite match? I'm kind of tossed up between the Women of Honor match and the ladder war at the end. And they're both great for different reasons. The Women of Honor match is a great wrestling match, where the ladder war is a great violent bloodbath. So let me know what you think. If you like one of those two, if something else was your favorite match on the show. But with all that being said, my name is George Coles, and this has been my review of Ring of Honor's Summer Supercard.